Hey everyone, it is December 23rd, 2020, and my son Jackson and I are at Parkway Memorial Gardens. This is located on Carl Vinson Parkway in our hometown of Warner Robins, Georgia. This is not necessarily a historical cemetery, but it's one that is pretty big in our town and has several people that we actually know in person. No famous graves that we know of, but it's a good place to start right here locally. New to the cemetery exploration game, if you call it a game, but Memorial Gardens, to what we understand, is a place for below ground burials and also above ground mausoleums, columbariums for ashes. It has multiple ways that you can memorialize, or where you can put the remains of loved ones. This here is a mixed-use mausoleum and columbarium here, and we're going to take a quick walk around just to show you what we see here. This is very interesting architecture that's fairly new, probably built in the last 15 years or so. This area in the front is what we understand to be a columbarium, which is a place where you can put ashes for someone who's been cremated. There's not really anybody famous that we know here. Or anybody famous, period. But it's very well built, very nice, very new, where folks can come and have a place to visit their deceased loved ones. Through here is mausoleum area. You've got below areas, and you've got some folks up high. I imagine that the cost associated with these areas sort of varies when you have someone eye level versus up above. Like I said, this is very interesting architecture. I guess what you would consider new. But there's some additional columbarium area here. And then if we walk along the side, and I know this may not be necessarily interesting to some folks, but it's interesting to some of us that really cherish the ability to come visit our loved ones when they pass on. But we've got several places in this mausoleum. Coming back around the side, bear with me on my amateur video taking skills. But we come through here, and we can look on the back side. It's very beautiful out here. Very well landscaped. No actual interments on the back side, but there is over here on the left side more places for mausoleum interments. Some very beautiful flowers. Some folks really go all out, decorate for the holidays, and really memorialize their loved ones. We see pictures. We see very beautiful flower arrangements. If you pan across the cemetery, you can see it's very mixed. Just about everything you can think of. We've got some above ground mausoleums. We've got a lot of in-ground burials. And then way over there, we'll go over there again, there's an indoor mausoleum, and then one right here in the middle that has some mausoleum and columbarium areas. So this cemetery is fairly new. Not fairly new in perspective, but probably a few decades old, but they give you lots of options of how you can remember your deceased loved one. This right here is not something you really see in Warner Robins. It's above ground, enclosed mausoleum. The Carter family, from what I've learned, actually owned all this land that is now Parkway Memorial Gardens. And we certainly can't go in this mausoleum, but it's very ornate. And for a town like Warner Robins, it's just not something you really see all the time. It's very well built. But this family, no doubt, was very important to be able to have this way to memorialize them. Over here, where you see Jack's, is another above ground mausoleum. Asbel is the name. Max, Barbara, George, Velma, I don't really know any of them, but they all died at various times. And based on the age of the mausoleum, I'm going to guess that some of them were buried other places and then moved to this area. But this is the only one out here that looks this way, further illustrating that they really give you lots of options out here. But this is really neat to see so many different things here locally in our town. We're not really making this video to sound morbid. It's more just for educational purposes. Jax has a keen interest in history, but when you come to a cemetery, you really learn how the burial process works. Now, this is someone who obviously died not too long ago, because they've just recently put the grass out here to regrow. This is a newer part of the cemetery, so the graves are pretty spaced out, but I'm sure within a certain amount of time it'll start to fill up as people in this area pass away. But you've got graves facing different directions here. I think we talked about in the last video that the sun rises in the east and sets in the west, and historically graves were to face a certain way. But I learned something new every day. Pardon for saying that's just how I talk when I talk in public. That you just never know. I guess there really are no set rules, more just traditional rules. I think I've solved the mystery of why the graves face a certain way. In this particular area, you've got one name here, Barroso, and then over here you've got the same name, Barroso. So perhaps this is a family plot that is not necessarily blocked around, but that they're grouped together, and this is why they can face a certain way. We do live in an Air Force town, so wherever you go, you see planes coming right over you. I think I said in the previous video that there are families buried out here together, but they're just not enclosed like you would see in a more historical cemetery. Family plots. They've got covenants, I guess, out here like you would see in a subdivision, that things have to look a certain way. And out here in this area, you have headstones and not big grouped in areas. So this is an area where you've got what looks like grandparents and parents, and even someone who died at an early age. But I guess that's just following cemetery protocol out here. This is Rhonda Chapman. Like I said, there's people out here we know. Rhonda's twin sisters babysat me and my sister when we were young. I did not realize she was buried out here, but it's nice. It's interesting to run across people that you do know. Right here on this same row is some folks my mom went to church with, and even Mr. Sherrill, who lived behind us, and his daughter was friends with my sister. Now, we're filming this in the car as we're driving by, but this area of the cemetery is a newer one that has different headstones. As you can see, you can memorialize your family member with a much larger headstone here. So down here, Jernigan, not related, but my wife's maiden name. There's some very nice, ornate headstones here, and we're getting dizzy. I'm sorry. We're driving by because we're trying to ride over to the other side of the cemetery. There's some hearts, your traditional granite memorials. I guess you get choices here, which is really interesting. This is not what you would call a historical cemetery, because you just see things here that you don't really see in other areas. Now, I don't know this for a fact, but this part of the cemetery has wreaths, and based on the plaque over here, it looks like this probably is a military section of the cemetery, because there are wreaths laid at all these grave sites. Lots of flags as well. Again, with the people we know, this is one of my best friends, Steve's parents, Linda and George. Miss Cyphers died about 15 years ago. She was a teacher at our school that we went to, Russell Elementary, and his dad, Mr. George, we call him Grandpa, passed away just last year. Fountain here, just a different place to go where someone could come and meditate or just reflect. It's a really cool fountain. This is the inside mausoleum here at Parkway Memorial Gardens. It has graves on either side and then graves on the inside. And from what I learned, if they want to have a graveside service, they have it inside here as some sort of a chapel. Now Jack's and I are going to go inside and see what we see. Now I'm making this video from the door because it's actually locked, but you can see that there's inside burials here and places to have a service. In Jack's words, holy smokes, there's a lot of people here. This is almost similar to what you see in Hollywood Graveyard and some of the mausoleums out west, but this is an outside, the outer edge of the indoor mausoleum. And this is the back side of that same area. It's another part of the mausoleum. Again, just another place where you can come and visit your loved one. There's some high and some low. I imagine, like I said, the cost is different, but you know, lots of options here. I won't spend a lot of time over here, but this is a very sad area. They're all sad, but this is where sort of a section for children, where families can choose to, infants or anyone young that passes away. There's a section here to memorialize them here. Very sad. I mean, any death is sad, but children especially. At the end of the video, but this is another columbarium, a place where you can put someone who's been cremated and their ashes with flowers, another place to memorialize them. And over here we have one more of the same way. So we finished our video here at Parkway Memorial Gardens. Probably not our most exciting, well, can't really call cemetery tours exciting, but just different here. It's a different place. Not really historical as you would see in a lot of places, but nonetheless sad, if you wouldn't say it that way, for people that have passed on. Jax said as we were leaving here that he likes visiting cemeteries, and his exact words were, I don't know any of these people, but they all had families and I feel bad for them. But some folks take death very hard, and some folks celebrate that the person is either no longer suffering or in a better place. So we'll continue to explore, see what we find. But we did start here locally, but thanks for watching.